Welcome to Season 2 of the Craft Beer Connoisseurs Podcast. I'm Brett. If you're new to the podcast, we are three friends and a producer who like to showcase craft breweries and their beers. Also, we like to end every episode with a short conversation on a variety of different topics. If you're not new to the podcast, well, welcome back. We will keep things similar to Season 1. After all, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. Whether you're new or returning, please feel free to listen to all of our Season 1 content. And remember to follow us on Instagram at Craft Beer Cons, send a friend request on Untapped, or subscribe on YouTube at Craft Beer Connoisseurs. Also, drop a comment, like, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcast. Now, for today's episode. Welcome to Craft Beer Connoisseurs. I'm Brett.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Tyler, and along with us today is producer Pete.
Hello, Pete.
Hello, Pete.
Well, in today's episode, we're going to be reviewing Refined Fool Brewing, which is in Sarnia, Ontario.
Nice.
Yeah.
And as always, what we normally do here is we're going to have two beers today, both out of the 4th edition of the IPA Fun Box.
Sounds fun.
That sounds very fun.
So this was actually released in early March, so we're kind of, getting it a little bit early here, which is nice.
Yeah.
First one is Party Sharks, which is labeled as a Foggy IPA.
Interesting.
And the second beer is called Catstronaut, which is a Session Hazy IPA. So let's see if it's out of this world.
Absolutely. And to finish up the episode, we are going to discuss Wrestlemania and our favorite wrestling moments.
Woohoo.
So, Refined Fool, as we're talking about on today's episode, has
Is
three...
that you? Are you the Refined Fool?
I was going to crack that later on, but I was
Yeah,
just saying,
exactly. We'll get to that later on.
He's not refined enough.
That's true. He's just
what
the
it is.
fool.
Wet horse blanket.
God dang it. Anyway, so Refined Fool has three different locations, with its original location being at 137 Davis Street. This is where the tiny batches are created these days with a 350-liter, 3-vessel, custom-built electric brewhouse labeled as Little Fool.
Wow.
Their second and more larger taproom / production facility, known as Big Fool, is located at 1326 London Road in Sarnia with a 1,200-liter direct fire brew system.
That's you, the big fool. Also, at the 1326 London Road location, they do also own a sports bar called Sports.
That's a good name.
Yep. Pretty cool.
Name, yeah.
Pretty simple. But in terms of their humble beginnings, it all started with a homebrew club brewing beers out of their houses in the middle of winter with propane burners and frozen hoses.
Wow.
Yeah, sounds dangerous.
Sounds like a typical story, I guess, for most brewers, right? So the brewery itself was founded by over 20 different people from all walks of life, including teachers, blue-collar workers, entrepreneurs, musicians, and pastors.
Well, that's quite the collection of people.
Yeah, blessed brew. The Davis Street location was opened on May 2nd, 2014. When everything started kind of taking off, the need for expansion was there. And then the London Road location, was opened up in April 1st. Okay, there's nothing about an April Fool's. Okay, well.
April Fools? Okay.
2018, you Refined Fools, no April Fools. Okay. The sports bar was then opened in August of 2020, so relatively soon. So
Refined Fool prides themselves on having foolishly good beer. Yeah, it's amazing how they work that in.
Funny.
So the business itself today is directed by Matt Barnes, who also doubles as the head brewer, Brandon Hybers, Tony Alexander, and Nathan Calhoun. And
Nice.
Nathan was the one who sent us the beers for today.
yeah,
Nice.
I'm sure we'll thank him later.
Probably.
So we mentioned that they have 3 locations. They can now, with their 3 locations, potentially make over 1 million liters of beer per year.
Yeah,
So
I could drink that.
yeah,
I think you
Not
did.
responsibly,
Check the Untapped Year in Review.
I was just going to say, the beer in review, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So with that being said, if they're brewing millions of liters of beer every year, essentially, they got to put that somewhere.
You got to sell it somewhere.
You got to put it somewhere. So you can find it in the LCBOs, grocery stores, and of course their tap rooms, their bottle shops. They always have these very interesting labels and names. So you can kind of see them, and we'll go through that. I'm sure Brett will talk about the can art when we get there, right? So we're really looking forward to that.
It does almost seem like with the labels and names that they come with, it almost sounds like they're trying to tell a story.
Yeah.
Have anyone figured that one out? Yeah? No?
What story are they telling?
Oh, so I've kind of put one together.
Okay.
Just so people kind of understand what they're doing. So Zane lost his avocado bag in a van full of weirdos. So that's when Ted fought the mailman, but then Bernice flipped the canasta table while watching Antiques Peep Show, dancing for the pizza guy that had pouch envy while looking at a litter librarians. Then suddenly a murder of crows flew by that caused a big brouhaha and was all deemed Science.
Wow.
Oh.
Now, did you come up with that yourself?
Yeah, did you
That was
actually
actually me
make that
myself,
up?
yes.
Wow, Brett. Very good.
Can't do math, but I can make a story.
Hey, I mean, the only thing that you stumbled on when you were reading that was the illiterate librarians. But good job.
That makes sense, right?
Exactly.
There you go.
Yes. So they also do have some fun with their social media as well as, including their Instagram. But they also have like a little sitcom series.
Really?
So yeah, if you go to their website, don't be afraid to watch the second season where you can see things such as a Dutch grandma, a dog man, and a belt fight.
Wow.
Yep,
So
that's all. I'm just going to leave it there. Just go and watch
they're
yourself.
taking it up one notch from a podcast and having this
Bingo.
whole sitcom.
Yes.
A little
Holy smokes.
trifecta.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So, back, what was it, about 2.5 years ago, all four of us went to one of their 3 locations for your 30th birthday, Tyler.
We did.
So that was when we did a couple spots. We stopped there first, and then on our way back, we did Stone Picker, which we featured in our first season. Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of, I don't know which location we went to. Was it the London Road one?
I'm pretty sure it was the big one.
The big one?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was, yeah.
Which is on what street? I don't know.
I think it was the London Road one. Which is
Was it the Little Fool or the Big Fool? Which one did we go to?
It's a Little Fool, and
Pete sang Little Fool.
Tyler would know. He planned it.
I did plan it.
Well, that's
Look back in your Google Drive and figure it out for us.
And it was the London one. And, it was good that it was our first stop.
yes.
Which I think a lot of the individuals that came for the birthday tour weren't really craft beer drinkers.
True.
And so it was nice to kind of, hey, let's get a flight and then start introducing them into some more of the craft beers.
Yeah. So one thing I like there, I believe Pete did this as well. I did this, and I think Brett, you did, was the flight of 8. Which you don't see a ton of. Oftentimes it's just a flight of 4, but it's nice to get they had a big long flight paddle with 8. I thought the tap room was decent size, I guess. They had all their tanks out that you could see, and they did serve food, which was nice because we were there kind of like lunchtime.
We needed food at that point.
Yeah, we did.
Right?
I mean, the vibe of the brewery is very much like it transferred through not only the beers, but the can art.
Yeah.
And the brewery itself, right? It's all those, a lot of intense colors, zany kind of names.
Yeah.
Great staff. Like, they were really nice. And
Yeah,
I think I got a free pour for my birthday.
I believe you did, yeah.
That should be expected.
You're right. But, sometimes you got to just not be,
They saw you as a little fool, and we're like, I'll give him a free taster.
That's it,
And when you're at the bar ordering your beer, oftentimes at a craft brewery, they'll have the chalkboard or whatever with the beers written down. So what they do is they kind of have like, I don't know, maybe letter size like 8.5 by 11 of the name of the beer, as well as kind of a picture that corresponds to the can art. So it's pretty easy to see what beers they have available. But because they don't really name them kind of after the beers, where some breweries do, you really have to look at like, okay, what type of beer is this? Because you might be ordering the wrong beer than you
do
want.
have to look at the fine print.
Yes, exactly.
Producer Pete also decided to have a little bit of a refreshment back in the day. He went to the Big Fool for it. Actually used to be his Untapped profile picture way back in the day, in terms of the flight of 8 and him holding it up. Now it's just a selfie of him pouring a beer.
Yes, true.
There you go. All right, so maybe we should talk about the beers that they've had. We mentioned that some of the beers that on the list when you're at the brewery.
Oh, we've had at least 8 of them.
On the brewery.
Yeah.
So we know that. So on Untapped, they have 154 different beers that have been checked in 83,000 times.
That's a lot.
It is a lot.
I kind of thought they might have more than 154. Like 154 is a lot, but I've seen a ton of different beers from them, so I just thought it might have been a little bit more.
Right,
but
fair enough.
I think maybe different variations of things too, right? And different hops kind of thrown in.
So the average of that is 3.6.
Pretty decent.
Yeah. So do you want to kind of go through each other's, how many we've had? And
I can go first. Why not, right?
Yeah,
so I've had 16 from them, and I've had 3 B4s. So that'd be Pouch Envy, which is their Australian Pale Ale, Van Full of Weirdos, which is an IPA, and then When Christina Met Davis. I don't know how they went, but they did.
Or who they are.
Yeah, that too. And it is a Strawberry Peach Sour.
Very nice. I've had 13, so the highest rated was the pouch heavy, and I gave that a 4.5 actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I have had 17. I'm actually just taking a look right now because I believe it's actually, yes, it is 18 because I had the illiterate librarians the other day.
Gets another one.
Illiterate's a big word.
It's a tough one.
It's a tough word.
Goodness.
So the highest rated one I've had was Leather and Lasers, which was a 4.25. And producer Pete, he's had 18 as well.
Nice.
And his highest also Pouch Envy. So
Oh, you like the envies of the
must be
pouches?
one of their good beers.
We do enjoy some pouch envy, right? So they usually have about 20 beers currently listed on their website, and usually able to have most of them on tap at 1, 2, maybe all 3 locations.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Delivery-wise, $20 Ontario shipping, but free once you get over that $125 marker.
I always found that a strange kind of marker, 125.
Yeah.
Why not?
But
I mean, they do the math and see what works for them. And
Absolutely.
there you go.
Absolutely. So tap rooms and bottle shops, they're open 7 days a week. Big Fool is open Sunday to Thursday, 11 to 9, Friday and Saturday, 11 to 10, or 11:30 to 10, sorry. Little Fool is Monday to Thursday from 12 to 11, Friday and Saturday from 12 to 1 a.m.
Oh.
Oh, boy. And Sunday from 11 to 9. And then the sports bar, just go watch some sports there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, of course, as usual, we're going to link to their information on our Instagram so you can pick up their beers.
And pick up some books for story time, and let's get on to the first beer. Big props to Nathan for providing the beers for today's episode.
Yes,
And
thank you.
sending along a mania of other beers, including, the IPA Fun Box series.
Yeah.
So have a
That's
little-
awesome. 6 beers each.
Exactly.
Can't
A
complain.
few other
We
beers
won't.
to have offline.
Yep.
But we're going to speak about this one. And the first beer is Party Sharks, which is labeled as a Foggy IPA.
Nice.
Yeah, so 7 a.m. on a Monday morning, in a, kind of drive.
What?
You were driven in a fog storm?
Yeah, but what's that got to do with the Foggy IPA?
It's just a labeling. Anyway, it's another word for hazy, and you'll speak on that in a minute. So this beer is 6.5 ABV, 35 IBUs.
All right. Well, it is described as ultra hazy, silky smooth, and fruit forward. It is a classic East Coast IPA meant to provide a euphoric tropical hop experience. The combination of Citra, Galaxy, and Mosaic hops impart notes of citrus, papaya, and peach.
Yeah. All right. So we've got 2-row honey and wheat malt that are used within this beer. Now, Foggy IPA, as mentioned, another name for the hazy IPA.
Yes.
So do you wake up and you got a Friday morning, you're going for a drive and you say, "Ooh, it's a little hazy." Ain't nobody say that. Come on.
You ever said that before?
No. So what causes the fog or the haze appearance? Now, we've kind of talked about this a little bit throughout our last 2 seasons here.
Yeah.
So it comes from a combination of the proteins, the tannins contributed by wheat and oats used in the mash and high rates of hop additions. The resulting haze complex actually kind of binds the nonpolar hop aroma compounds that you would not normally remain in the beer. So that's why we get a little bit of a haziness or fogginess to it, depending on who's foggy and who's hazy.
All right. So on Untapped, you can follow us at Craft Beer Connoisseurs and on Instagram at Craft Beer Cons. So the overall rating for Party Sharks is 3.80 out of 5 bottle caps with 189 check-ins.
Not bad.
And there are 4 5 out of 5s. So the can, which we are drinking out of today,
And just heard a couple seconds ago.
Yep, has 136 check-ins out of those 189 with 3.81. So a tiny, tiny bit above the overall average.
So one extra check-in that just
Yeah,
topped it
it
off a
just
little bit, right?
puts it over the top.
There it is. All right, so this is my favorite part, and I think we need it. So
Not wrong.
grab your can, grab your glass, and let's open her up. All right. We're going to start pouring this. here.
bright side for Chris is he only bring one glass set today.
That's true. So, of course, we are drinking this out of an IPA glass, so make sure to use your proper glassware. You could put your IPA glass in the freezer and pull it out, and then it would be a foggy IPA glass once you took it out.
There you go. So let's take a look at what we got here on the pour. I've got a nice little head. I think we actually all have a pretty good head on it. Good job, guys.
Look at that.
That's a rarity. That's
This
a rare
is
atom.
definitely foggy. It looks kind of thick, even.
I almost would think hazy personally, but yeah, definitely a little thick. The head on it again, a couple fingers, and it's nice little carbonation there.
Yeah, it's kind of like got a, I don't know, peachy color to it, I would say.
Yeah. And what about on the nose?
Also kind of feeling that little peach. I feel.
Yeah, a little peach, a little bitterness.
It's got a good smell to it, I think.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it does have
I
a
think
nice
this
smell.
is to be good. And before we dive into it, just to look at the can itself, it is a shark kind of swimming underwater with a birthday hat on.
Where would a shark swim if it wasn't underwater?
I was thinking the same thing.
In your bedroom. I don't know. No idea.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Wow. All right, so let's maybe we should get tasting it, guys. It smells. I think
It smells really nice.
Good, really
Yeah.
good.
I think it
smell
smells good. Let's get into it.
there. All right, that's great.
Beer wise.
There you go.
Yeah, that hits good. I think
It feels a little thicker.
It does feel
Yes.
thick, yeah.
There's a different mouthfeel to it for sure.
Yeah. Not in a bad way.
No.
I think it's nice. It does have that bitterness kind of up front and then mellows a little bit to some fruit flavors that can't really necessarily pull out exactly which fruit it is right now, but there definitely is that fruit flavor at the end.
You know what it is?
What is it?
Papaya.
Is it?
Oh,
You getting
yes.
papaya?
Yep. That's the papaya.
papaya. Or maybe a little bit of pear. Let me get some pear at the end of it.
No, I'm getting.
No? You're
I'm
getting
not
straight
getting.
papaya?
It. Did you read that recently?
Maybe.
I see. This is the thing, right? Sometimes I think you see something, you read it,
And it
then
influences.
it's the
Yeah.
same thing
Yeah.
with when you read something, but you hear a noise.
Yeah.
But they say what that word is that you're actually hearing.
Yeah, or
And
like
it
when
can
you
change.
see the color like green written out, but it's in red.
Red, yeah.
Or you see the word illiterate and you can't say it.
You know what I am kind of getting though is a little bit of peach, and maybe it's papaya. I don't know. I don't really eat papaya, so maybe it is similar to peach flavor. But
Yeah.
I do get a bit of that peach on the back.
I
end.
think it's papaya and peach. I think
Yeah.
I think together we're nailing that. The pear thing. I mean, yeah, to each their own, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely am not getting the pear because pear has almost more of a drier kind of flavor to it, and I don't know. I'm
Maybe
getting
it's
more
me.
juiciness.
I'm getting juicy in the front end, but then a little bit of dry in the back end. Like, kind of the point where like your esophagus kind of gets dry from just,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
no, totally. Yeah,
For sure. All right, so why don't we do the 5 flavor profiles and see what we got there? I know we're kind of moving along, but I'm actually really enjoying this one.
same.
Yeah, it is nice actually.
So number 1 flavor profile. I hate this. I truly do hate this. Number 1 is cloudy in the flavor profile.
You tasted a cloud before?
No.
No, and Pete has not either.
Actually,
he's saying haven't. I mean, technically yes when we drink
gonna
water,
say.
but
Or when we are outside and it's foggy.
right, and you just breathe in the air.
You
You're
just eat the cloud. Just-
yeah, just go like a Pac-Man style, just like.
Man, I wish we had that on video.
Can you do that again?
No, absolutely not.
Maybe we could do a little boomerang for Instagram for that.
Yeah, so cloudy is weird.
Cloudy's weird. And I
Yeah.
almost think that maybe Untappd should change this to like 5 flavor / like description profiles. But anyways,
Yeah.
Number 2, citrusy.
Like not, I don't think any of the fruits that we're talking about are citrus fruits, right? So I don't think there really is citrus.
but at least
to
we've
be honest.
tasted citrus fruits before.
We have, yes.
So at least we know what's going on there.
We have done that. Number 3, hoppy.
Absolutely.
Pete says yes.
Yeah, I agree, and I think 3 is a decent spot for it, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would probably move it down a little bit personally, just because there are different flavors that I'm actually getting that are not citrusy and cloudy.
Yeah.
And I think that they're a little bit more predominant. But number 4, strong.
There is a bit of a strongness to this.
Yeah.
Because it's not super high in ABV, but it does kind of drink a little
I feel
bit.
as though this
stronger.
is one of those ones that you should probably only have one of. If you got into 2 or 3 or 4 of these, that's when things could get a little bit more dangerous. But yeah, I think it definitely is strong in some aspects. I think it's more so, again, strong in the back end with that bitterness.
Yeah, because it's 6.5. Like, that's
Yeah.
pretty average for an IPA.
Yeah. Number 5 is pear, which might be
Well,
where
Brett definitely.
Yes, I'm
Brett
going
might
to
have
get
read the number 5 here and was persuaded
No,
by
I'm still getting
the written word.
peach and papaya and the pear. The 3 Ps, if you will.
Okay. So,
Okay.
yeah, I think we would definitely add in peach, papaya, and then maybe even Pete saying mouthfeel, because it does have that kind of.
Guys, the alliteration here. Peach, papaya, pear, peat. I can't do this.
I know it's at least you're literate.
Yeah, I'm literate with my alliteration. But yeah, I agree. The mouthfeel, I think what Pete mentioned there is probably a good one as well.
Okay. Maybe we should get to what other people think of this on Untapped.
Yeah, see if there's any pears in there.
Let's see. So the first one comes from JC, and JC's handle is Cooper1212. And on March 12th, another 12, stated very smooth but subtle hazy IPA. Lots of juice. And JC rated it a 4 out of 5. But maybe JC took the picture through beer goggle filter, as it seems just a bit as hazy as the beer. So if you take a look at JC's check-in.
That, remember when I used to have terrible pictures?
Last week?
This is like 10 times.
Because I'm pretty sure there was a picture you posted
yesterday.
That was not good.
Yeah, probably. I think, was that the no-name beer you're talking about?
It might have been.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, so yeah, if you take a look at the picture, it's very, very, very hazy.
There you go.
Let's just say it.
So I got the next one is Adam L. or Blumgus is the handle. That's an interesting one. On March 9th, said the following. Probably my favorite from volume number 4. Super juicy, easily crushable, and effortlessly smooth. Cheers, and don't let the fishes get you. Now they give it a 4.5 out of 5. Mm-hmm. So we've got a 4 and a 4.5 up there.
What about your rating?
Oh, well, I'm going to get there in a second. So again, just to remind everybody, this is a 3.8 overall with 189 check-ins. So those two are both above the average there. For myself, I'm going to get this thing started. I'm going to give it a 4.25.
Oh, I am going to copy you.
You son of a guy.
I am also going to give it a 4.25. It's actually quite nice.
It is really nice.
I'm also going to copy you as well. Oh. I know. I'm one of those guys. Jesus.
There's a pair for you.
Yeah. You know who's not going to copy us?
Yeah. So I'm 4.25. Who's not going to copy us? Producer Pete.
Yeah.
He's going like a whole round lower, number lower, 3.25. Wow. Don't understand what he's thinking, but
that's all right.
That happens.
That's all right. So that's going to give us an overall team score of 4.0 bottle caps out of the 5.
Oh, don't have to round. Well, we're going to move to the next chapter and have beer number 2. All right, we are back and we're about to blast off to space.
I think we need that.
The second beer is Catstronaut, which is a session hazy IPA. So it comes in at 4.5% ABV with no IBUs listed.
Interesting.
Yes, yeah. I'm glad you told us what the ABV was. That was great of you.
Yeah.
So this is described as a smooth and clean drinking session IPA, light and moderate bitterness with balanced hops that give this crushable beer some character. So
this is true. That is 100%. I agree with you on that one. Also, this beer might be described as a golden hazy beauty.
Oh, a beauty.
Is it foggy or hazy? God, I'm still confused.
It's actually golden.
There you go.
With citrus and tropical notes. And this will be a well-balanced beer. And what more do we like than a well-balanced beer?
We do talk about it.
You certainly cannot complain about that.
Absolutely not.
So on Untapped, for this Catstronaut beer, there are 58 check-ins with an average rating of 3.79 out of 5. And out of those 58, no 5s so far.
Could we have it first?
Oh, maybe.
Maybe.
So we're drinking this one out of the can also. So there's been 42 check-ins from the can with a 3.76. So the last one was tiny bit over. This one's tiny bit under.
Nice.
The average.
There you go. A little teeny tiny. A little fool and a big fool. All right, so let's grab our cans. Let's grab our glass. And let's open her up. I was waiting. I thought you were going to premature it.
I'm having a tab issue.
I will say, though, that if we are doing this based on can labels, 5 out of 5.
Yeah. Oh, true.
Because it is literally a cat in an astronaut suit soaring off into space.
Well, we are also drinking this one out of an IPA glass. Brett, you mentioned earlier, I only had to bring one glass, so that was helpful. So make sure to use your proper glassware.
I got it right to the top. I'm actually scared to
look at this right now. I still have
there's an earthquake.
I still have some in the can right now while looking at this.
Me too. I poured a little bit too much head on this one.
As I said last time, Tyler was an aggressive pourer, and look at him.
And this one is big bubble formation, I would say.
Yeah, little fool, big fool,
yeah,
big bubble,
big
little
fool
bubble. Nice. So again, I mean, yeah, that's what I was worried about, Chris. Too is just the overflow.
Yeah.
See, I'm sitting pretty right now.
It's Sarnia City.
Yeah.
Smart service came in handy, let me tell you.
Smart surf or refined fool? I don't know.
All
There
right.
seems to be
All
some
right.
kind of backwardness there.
Anywho, you guys probably have, I would almost say that's 3 fingers in terms of a head,
About that.
Yeah.
where I'm kind of sitting at the 2 point. Let's get it under your nose there. Let me take a little of the bubbles off, but get on yours. What do you smell?
Be very careful with that.
Yeah. It having the flavor come all the way through my 3 fingers of head, it is pretty citrusy on the nose.
But not as citrusy, right? As the last one.
Well, the last one wasn't that citrusy.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, some people thought it was.
Yeah, my point.
Yeah.
Pear.
Pear, yeah. But this one, we didn't actually really talk about the color, I don't think. But it is definitely a little bit hazy and much lighter than the Foggy IPA that we just had.
Yes.
I comparing it to the last one too, and I think that's kind of the downfall of having like back-to-back IPAs, right? And,
Yep.
You inevitably kind of go back to what you had previously.
You just can't help but compare them.
Yeah, this one here to me smells a little bit not as great as the last one. I don't know if you guys are getting that. They're different, right? Like, and maybe that's the session part of it.
I get that. Yeah.
I say the aromas on this beer are not as strong as the past beer.
Yeah.
Well,
I think so.
should we talk about maybe the taste when we go and drink it?
Yeah, get her on the swallow.
Okay. Let's go ahead, gentlemen.
Do that. I'll play a little ditty here while you guys get your sip in, so that way we don't leave the listeners.
And Tyler's finished. Okay.
There you
Yeah. No, that's definitely more carbonated than what I thought, actually. So very highly, a lot more carbonated compared to the first one we had.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's definitely, we said the last one was at 6.5%, and it was a little bit more, kind of came on a little bit more strong. This one's at 4.5, and it's definitely a light IPA.
Refreshing.
Yeah, refreshing. It's obviously a session, right? So it's going to be less than 5, but at 4.5, I don't even know that it drinks at 4.5, even a little bit less.
Mm-hmm. I think this was needed. I think this beer was well needed. Just a nice little calm down after the first one. I think definitely drink smooth, for sure. I think 100% goes smooth.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
A completely different mouthfeel, right? Mm-hmm. This one, you still have more in the can, eh?
Yeah,
I actually might too.
I poured a big head and had a lot of space.
Nice.
Yeah.
I had a milliliter left.
Yeah, I think it is.
Milliliter.
I do think it is smoother. The mouthfeel is completely different, right?
And
this is cleaner.
This is so cold. We did have it outside.
It's always good to keep things in a cooler temperature.
And my can had snow on it.
Yeah, same here.
That's how cold it was.
I had
snow on it.
I had to wipe mine on my pants.
Yeah, my pants are wet from my snow melting.
There you go. Who's doing the top 5?
I'll do the top 5.
Yeah, go nuts.
So number 1 is smooth. I think it's smooth.
I agree. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Number 2 is clean. So yeah, it is clean.
Yeah, I think smooth and clean kind of go hand.
Yeah, it's kind of similar, right?
Smooth, clean.
Number 3 is hoppy. Now, sometimes you'll get a session that is actually quite a hoppy beer, like almost as hoppy as a West Coast, just with lower alcohol. But I'm not really getting that much hops on this one.
No.
I feel like on the nose it smells hoppier than the actual taste.
I agree.
Yeah.
Which is totally okay when it comes to a session.
Oh yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes hand in hand with number 4, which is crushable. I would say this is definitely crushable.
Yeah, Pete says yep.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Pete could crush us all day.
Yeah, sitting there just crushing many of these beers.
Hey, I'd join him.
Number 5 is subtle. I think that's actually appropriate because I don't think there's any flavors that are kind of popping out, and it's kind of, I like this beer, but it is a little bit lacking on kind of that punch of flavor that you might expect.
And one that stands out, like one specific flavor profile. I'm not really picking up on anything, but I agree.
Yeah.
I think again, Pete says there's no specific fruit here, and then underneath says bubblegum question mark, and I kind of feel that. I can see where that's going. Yeah,
a little bit, right? Like it's almost what is it? Saisons kind of sometimes have that bubblegum flavor.
Yeah.
It almost has a little bit of that on the back end,
and also has the subtleness just from the low alcohol content involved with it, right?
Yeah,
like it's subtle in terms of this having one or maybe even 2 of these isn't exactly gonna ruin your whole day.
Put you over,
yeah.
For example, right?
Like I wonder if this would be a good beer to have on a spaceship in
Or with
Up
your
in
cat.
space.
Or with your cat.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Elon
On
Musk.
Halloween, dressed as an astronaut.
I can't condone cats.
I can't either, so we're all good there.
All right. Well, let's go on maybe to see what some of the Untapped users are thinking.
So speaking of something I can condone, Untapped. The first one is from Matt K, and his handle is Crypter on March 14th, stated, beautiful pineapple-y. Is anybody getting pineapple to this?
No.
Okay. Session IPA, bursting full of juice for such a low ABV. 4.25 out of 5. What do we think about that one?
Yeah, I don't necessarily share that same view from Matt.
Is that like the juice part or more so the pineapple part?
Well, both, I would say.
Pineapple juice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the next one comes from Chris.
Hey. Yeah.
Chris R., not me. Syntensis is Chris's handle. So a moderator. He is a moderator / insider of Untapped, and gave this review on March 11th. Light and fruity, the way it should be. And Chris gave it a 3.75 out of 5.
Interesting.
Okay. So speaking of the Chris that is, currently 3 feet to the right of me,
Yep.
What do you give this out of 5?
I might actually do something similar to Chris R. and go with a 3.75 on this
That's
one.
all you've been doing the entire episode.
Chris is just stick
people.
together. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's all that is.
I'm a
Copy
cop-
Tyler's rating the first one. You copy Chris is rating this
I'm
one.
a copy Catstronaut.
Now,
You
for me,
are a dad.
speaking of being a dad, me, in terms of this, I'm going to go a little bit higher than you. I'm going to give this a 4.
Oh,
I think this is very crushable, light, a good go-to if you don't want to have the ABV, the high ABV, but you want an IPA.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to come in. I hate to do this. Copy Catstronaut. I'm going to come in at a 3.75 myself.
Oh, what a copy.
Yeah, I know.
Catstronaut.
But producer Pete's copying me. Haha. Out of 4.
Yep.
That is all.
Yep. Well, Pete's a little slow here on the average, so he's giving us a 3.875 overall, which we are, of course, going to round up to a 4.
I'm glad we could all agree on that.
There we go. So we're going to conclude the review of Refined Fool and the beers that they've been giving us to provide this episode. So that's it for us.
Yeah, and coming on up, a discussion about Wrestlemania and our favorite wrestling moments.
Whoa.
All right, so in terms of Refined Fool, I thought it was only appropriate and maybe exciting for, me. Me, because I was finally able to sneak this one in, because we all, have a diversity of topics that we talk about at the end here.
That's true.
So I thought maybe it would be good to talk about something that, you obviously need to be refined to do, as it takes years of training and practice, because it does, or you're going to, cause injury. But some
Where
people,
are you going with this?
That's
Acting
some
school.
people.
Acting school.
Hey, I did take drama all 4 years in high school. But some people might find a little bit foolish, and that is professional wrestling. Or pro
Especially
wrestling.
when you say it like that.
Yeah.
So I'll say pro
really
wrestling.
doing justice to the sport, if you want to call it that.
So obviously, this is going to be dropped. This episode is right before Wrestlemania.
I did not know that.
And now you know.
Now you know.
So Wrestlemania is actually now 2 nights instead of 1, because that's how big it is these days. It is the Super Bowl. I believe they're calling it stupendous this year.
Is the Super Bowl more than one night?
Super Bowl is not more than 1 night. But it is a Super Bowl of sports entertainment. There you go.
I mean, technically, there's like the week leading up to the Super Bowl.
yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, the game is only
Now,
one night. Yeah.
obviously, I'm not going to predict any winners and losers because, I'm going to kind of...
Because it's all scripted already, and Vince McMahon
It might
knows
be
everything.
all
Yes,
predetermined. But I probably would get it wrong anyway in terms of predicting who's going to win and who's going to lose. So I'm going to ask a couple questions to you and see if you guys have any knowledge in terms of anything when it comes to wrestling.
Okay.
Did you guys watch this when you were a kid?
No.
No, not really.
No, not really. Okay. Producer
Bruce
Pete
Pete.
coming in with a no as well.
I mean, I would put it on from time to time, but we were not allowed to watch it.
Yes.
So, producer Pete, I think we had the same parents, but different parents. But,
You know,
what I'm
it was funny because the Score, if you remember the Score channel back then, they would play it. They would play the Monday Night Raw and what's the
SmackDown? Friday Night SmackDown.
Friday Night SmackDown. Yeah, they would play that. So sometimes I would kind of, if there was nothing going on, I would kind of tune in, but have absolutely no clue what's going on. Like I wouldn't follow it like I would any other sports league.
You wouldn't know who, like, who's champ and whatnot, right?
Yeah,
champ.
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
Championship, right?
Yeah, like
what's the next question?
It seemed like everyone had a belt all the time.
Yeah,
it's amazing how that operated. So, is there any favorite moments that you remember watching as a kid or an adult?
Well, I guess that's all you.
Any one specific moment that, or like watching? Any specific time besides looking at the score ticker, waiting for Sid Sixero and Tim McCall to come on?
I will say generally, like the most entertaining parts of wrestling when I would watch it was when they would get thrown out of the ring and like they'd land on the announcer table and like the table would break and they'd just be fighting like right beside the fans. Like someone would just take the back of their head and slam it into the guardrail right beside a fan. Like that would be pretty cool if you were standing right there.
Absolutely. Tyler, you have any moments? Remember, like obviously I know you guys didn't go out and buy pay-per-views back in the day.
Oh, it was pay-per-view PPVs all day for this stuff.
That's what it sounds like. Yes.
No, I mean, I don't know. I just find it not fiscally responsible. You see, smashing people through like the announcing table, all that jazz. Like, how many tables did they pay for?
It's a lot of tables.
It reassembles itself, right?
What's that?
It reassembles itself, right?
Oh, you're giving away the secret.
Oh my goodness! You want more secrets about it? I can give it away.
Wow.
Do you want to know what a face and a heel is?
I feel like I'm looking at what.
As a face or a heel?
I feel like a face that got a heel.
Oh, wow. A face is a good guy and a heel is a bad guy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
there you go.
Anyway. Go to the next question.
So, I'm going to assume the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Do you guys care about, like, Wrestlemania, Royal Rumble? Also, there's a very good drinking game when it comes to Royal Rumble, just in case. Responsible, of course. You guys maybe ever been to any live events or watched any pro wrestling live?
I have not.
Okay.
What is the difference between Wrestlemania and Royal Rumble?
So Wrestlemania obviously
one
is...
you have Taco Bell and you end up in the washroom and you get a Royal Rumble.
What's the difference between Taco Bell and KFC? Well, they're owned by the same person. So WrestleMania is kind of like their be all end all. So WrestleMania is like the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl,
right?
Yeah.
God, I've heard a lot of Super Bowl references for WrestleMania.
Taco Bell, Super Bowl 2. No, kidding. Anyway, Royal Rumble is kind of like their pristine match. So, for example, 30 men, and now there's 30 women as well. So they have two separate Rumble matches on the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, if you will. So 2 people start, and then every 90 seconds somebody else comes in until you get to number 30.
So at one point there's 30 people in the ring.
No. So wait for it. So you get eliminated at any time when you get thrown over the top rope and both feet touch the floor.
Okay.
So the match ends up lasting about an hour. So if you go into it, you pick a couple guys, like, I'm going to take, you guys won't know any of these current guys, but I'll use old guys.
Okay.
Like The Rock, for example. You've heard of him, right?
I have, yes.
Or like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yes.
Okay.
Austin 316.
Yeah.
Bingo, right? So what would happen, let's say if The Rock throws Stone Cold over the top rope and both his feet touch the floor.
Yes.
That means he's eliminated.
Okay.
But then somebody else could come in, being, producer Pete. I don't know how he got a draw, but he got a draw into it. Producer Pete comes out and takes on The Rock.
So I got a question.
Yes, correct.
So
go ahead.
Correct. I'm right before I even talk. I like this system. So how do they figure out who comes in when? Because I feel like it's an extreme disadvantage to
if
be the
you're
first
at
guy.
first.
Random draw.
So the first person in there has probably never won.
That is incorrect, actually. Okay. The first person in there has actually won 3 times.
Oh.
Okay. 1995, Shawn Michaels.
Oh.
2004, Ye Who Not Be Named, due to what happened a long time ago that I'm not mentioning on the podcast. And then last year with Edge, who's actually Canadian.
Who was
born in Orangeville. Came back from a neck surgery and was like, you know what? I need money, so I'm going to wrestle again.
So they thought it would be a good
story.
plot. Yeah.
57 minutes later, he won.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stamina there.
Actually, 2 of them were Canadians. 2 of the 3 were Canadians that went for number 1 and won it all.
There you go.
Just for a little hint on Dudge. You can look it up. I'm not going to mention his name.
Who he should not be
I'm not going to mention
Yeah.
his name of the podcast because he's kind of been slighted from the world of wrestling due to what he did. But yeah,
Ooh,
look it
drama.
up. Apparently, you guys did not do your research on this.
No, I didn't look up who should not be named.
Anyway.
Yeah, who has been blackballed
Now,
from wrestling?
yeah, exactly. So one of these things that they do a lot more so now is the crossover and celebrity, athlete involvement.
That's how you know it's a real sport.
Okay. It's actually called sports entertainment.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like WWE and then All Elite Wrestling, which is kind of like the second tier of WWE.
Yeah.
And then like American Gladiators.
I love American Gladiators.
Who doesn't love Nitro? Anyway.
Nitro. Thunder.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, actually named WCW's things. Anyway, going back to the late 90s. So Brock Lesnar, obviously, is a guy who was in UFC before.
Yep.
Started in WWE, went to UFC, then came back. Ronda Rousey, same thing. She started in UFC, is now in WWE. But then there's also other people like Johnny Knoxville.
Really?
Yes. So Jackass, obviously you should, not Brewing, just the movies itself. So he's actually in an Anything Goes match at Wrestlemania this year. Pat McAfee. Do you know who Pat McAfee is?
Is that the punter or the
Yes.
kicker for the Colts?
So he is used to be a punter for the Indianapolis Colts, now has one of the most successful podcasts in, life these days. And he's also a commentator, so he's fighting Austin Theory, who you guys have probably never heard of. But have you heard of Logan Paul?
Yeah.
Isn't he a boxer?
Yes, boxer / social media star. I think he
He's
fought
a YouTuber.
Floyd Mayweather last year, right? And then, of course, the one that I'm looking forward to. He's not coming back for an actual match, but he's coming back to stun some people, if you will. And that is none other than Stone Cold Steve Austin. You guys have heard of him, though, right?
I have, yeah.
Also, because I mentioned him about 4 minutes ago.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. So, top wrestlers of all time. This is going to be a whole lot of nothing for you guys, I think. Right, Chris, you want to give me any wrestlers that you even know of? I'll just go that route.
I know The Rock,
Okay.
Steve Austin, and Rob Gronkowski.
Yes, he had 2 matches. That's awesome.
Nice.
I'm a Patriots fan, so I had to
That's
throw
fair.
that in
Tyler?
there.
Well, I'm going to give producer Pete's here. So he doesn't really have a top 3, but if you had to just name some 3, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And then this actually kind of ties in a little bit later. So there is some beers.
Yes.
Possibly,
So Stone Cold Steve Austin thing was, drinking some beers. That was his whole thing, gimmick, if you will.
Right.
So
gimmick is a character, by the way, just so you know. Because they all have characters.
Yeah. So there might be a bachelor party coming up here in the near future, and he wants to do a little bit of a smash a beer.
He also does have a couple beers in the States that we're going to pick up eventually.
So, you can go ahead and talk about that too, Brett, if you want. But the next is The Rock and then Hulk Hogan. At first, I thought it said, what a snatch on the kid, but it does say, what a stash.
What a stash.
Not a kid.
Not quite a kid, yeah.
That guy is,
Hulk Hogan ain't a kid.
No.
But my top 3, I don't really have a top 3, but I always felt like I related the most to The Undertaker, a man who is alive but also dead, it seemed like inside. So,
And you had a brother that you burned on fire, or what?
I wish. So that Undertaker was like one of my top. I guess Kane would be the other one, I suppose.
Bingo. I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you.
I also, here's the thing. I think that if I had to translate my ability to play baseball into a form of a wrestler, it'd be Rey Mysterio.
Yes.
I just feel like I'm very athletic, agile, and then just was doing things in the ring
that nobody else could do.
and nobody else could do. And that's the extent of my WrestleMania.
And fun fact, I actually went to the WWE live event that was in Kitchener last week, as this episode gets dropped. And Rey Mysterio was there last night.
What do you do?
Teamed with his son Dominic. That's how old he is. Against The Miz and Bobby Roode, who's from Peterborough in the area. So it's very close.
Nice.
But
do
I will.
Do you have 3?
I do, yes. So number 1, obviously, The Rock. If you just
Obviously.
look, I mean, honestly, if you look at the stuff, if you ever go back, because obviously you guys didn't do your research, but if you went back and watched The Rock like circa 1999, 2000, just go up on YouTube and just search The Rock promo. You understand why he's probably the most successful actor in Hollywood now. FYI. Number 2, Stone Cold.
Because he was acting all the time on the...
Pretty much. Yeah. Number 2, Stone Cold, because, who likes beers? And what? And then number 3, I have like a bit of a tie. Undertaker, as we mentioned.
Yep.
And I don't know if you guys will know these people, but Kurt Angle.
Yeah, Olympic champ.
Yeah, little champ. And Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
Actually, the only guy who's still going to this day in All Elite Wrestling, not in WWE.
Sorry, did you say Elite Wrestling?
Yes, All Elite Wrestling.
All Elite.
It's on TSN every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Look it up.
That's like the new kind of competition to the WWE, right?
Correct,
Yeah.
yes. But the one thing I do want to mention, and producer Pete has kind of pointed this out, Andre the Giant. Okay, does anybody know the Guinness Book of World Record that Andre the Giant holds?
Biggest person.
No.
Andre the Giant used to fall asleep during wrestling matches.
That is A, correct, but B, not the one I was going to mention.
Boom! Knowledge!
Longest nap during a
Do you want to know
Wrestlemania.
why he was falling asleep during those wrestling matches?
Hell of a partier.
Bingo. So, in a 5-hour sitting, I could be kind of close on this, but 12-ounce pours of beers. Okay, it's 12 ounces.
Yeah.
He had 119 in one sitting.
In 5 hours.
5 hours. Because he was 7'3" and about 500 pounds. And is a tank. Yes. Just so you know.
Don't try that at home.
Please don't.
So,
They actually, WWE says this, please don't try this at home.
yeah.
According to Under the Giant's drinking and also like pro wrestling.
There we go. So, producer Pete does mention the much anticipated arrival of Terramania Blanco is entering the tequila ring. Global superstar The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, is behind this exciting spirit. So expect star-studded notes of Citra, agave, vanilla, and earth.
If you smell what The Rock is cooking, and that's earth.
Some earth.
Yeah, so it's a medium-bodied and warm. It's with a lengthy kind of finish on it. So pairs well with a pulled pork taco or a or neat after dinner.
All right. One more question before we wrap it up. Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns. Who wins on next Sunday?
Who do you think?
Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I'm going with the other one.
Yeah, I'm good.
And that's the bottom line because the craft beer connoisseur said so. Let's wrap her up.
All right, and that's all for today's episode.
Thank you for listening. Keep on listening every other Thursday as Craft Beer Connoisseurs releases a new episode, and on our off Thursdays for a producer special.
Make sure to tell your friends, family, and your favorite pro wrestler.
Whoa. So for all of us, producer Pete, I'm Tyler.
I'm Brett.
And I'm Chris, and together we're the Craft Beer Connoisseurs.